to another week of the Abuse Cartoons live stream. Whoa, what's going on here? What is that? All right, I think I got this. All right, there we go. All right, always changing things around. I did a couple of interviews since the last time I live streamed, so I took down the green screen and everything. So I was worried what state that would leave things in, but I think we're okay. Let me know if the sound or anything. I think I'm just gonna leave this on. If the sound is too bad, we'll see how it goes. uh, but here we are. So I apologize for missing Tuesday. I was pretty sick, just like a temporary 24-hour kind of thing. But I think it was food poisoning. In the hot summer, there's not a lot of preservatives in food and stuff here, and it's really hot and humid. So sometimes transporting food and stuff is not the. Let me do this a little bit. Oh, I am all the way down. Isn't the safest thing. So yeah, I think I got a little bit of that, and was out for the day. So sorry about that. I definitely wouldn't have been able to sit and stream. I was in quite a condition. Hey, unknown girl, how's it going? Oh, good, good. I'm glad the sound is working. Yeah, I've got the air conditioning on, so I'm worried about that. But good to hear. All right. Yeah, this room gets brutal without it. It's really strange, though. It keeps raining. I guess we're getting typhoons not hitting us, but in the vicinity. And so it's causing a lot of weird weather. Yesterday, it was hot and sunny and raining at the same time, and the rain was hot, like a shower hot. It was really bizarre. So I don't know what's going on with the weather. So there's just these very small rain clouds, and we've had a ton of lightning too. So that's been really strange. So I guess I should start drawing something. Huh? I think I've got the tablet set. But yeah, so that's been a little odd. All right. Oh, but I did watch the series. That's depressing. Series finale of Better Call Saul while I was down and out. It was good. It's really hard to end those shows. I think I enjoyed it more than the finale of Breaking Bad. It was a little more, I think that somebody was calling it cerebral. It's a little bit more like symbolic and thinky than Breaking Bad. But it's really good. It was a good completion to the character, and yeah, good arc. You actually felt an arc, and it made sense. Like that's a lot of times though, kill somebody, or somebody gets some sort of punishment or whatever because it's kind of supposed to happen, but they really earned this. The end of that character was really earned, and it made sense. I thought it was really well done. And there's a cool I guess the cerebrally part was the little time machine. There's like little flashbacks, and there's a little time machine reference, and yeah, there's a nice payoff to that. And it's cool they went back and did like with characters from Breaking Bad, and then earlier seasons of Better Call Saul. They did, come on, there we go, they did flashbacks. I can't find the end of this. There we go. They did flashbacks. That has to be hard though, to the costume and everything. You have to put that character back in the makeup and costume of much earlier seasons. And I guess with all the Walter White stuff, he's in the middle of probably other productions, so he can't shave his head. if he's playing the kind of Heisenberg version of Walter White. So they have to do a bald cap, but it makes his head a little big, a little too big. It's like obviously a bald cap because no matter how tight they get it, it's bigger than his head, and you know what his head looks like from the show. So they have to digitally shrink it a little bit. That's bizarre. But yeah, if you watch that series at all, catch up and finish it because it's definitely worth it. There's a really it's got a really good ending to it. And it's weird too because this doesn't really give anything away, but it ends in black and white because, as you know from this season, or no, from the whole series, black and white is not a flash back; it's a flash forward. In this case, like all the stuff that's shown in the relocation when the assumed identity, like the new identity that Saul gets. All that stuff is depicted in black and white, so it stands out, so it's very different from the rest of the show. And so they just did little, short things, just like they did with the other series. Short stuff at the beginning, and this all takes place in, the post Breaking Bad time, because Better Call Saul is a prequel series, so... Oh, there we go. So yeah, it's good, really good stuff. I was happy to, sad that it's over, but happy that they finished it well. So it's like a complete thing, It's like worth watching again and worth getting back to that point, because you can't say that about a lot of shows. There's been a lot of like notoriously bad shows. Oh, Blackbird. I'll have to take a look for that. Yeah, Breaking Bad is really fun, and it was really fun that it got its popularity in kind of that last season. So it was fun to kind of watch with everyone, kind of how Game of Thrones was for a little while. And, when it kind of takes off in like mass popularity, you've got a lot of people talking about it, online. And if you just keep up with the new episodes, it's fun to kind of watch a show finish in that way. Wasn't great for Game of Thrones, though. They really botched that, because I don't think it was just like they didn't even care anymore. They offloaded, the showrunners just offloaded the whole thing, the plotting and everything, to their lead writer, and they just didn't care because supposedly they were going to get a Disney contract and do a Star Wars trilogy and stuff. So those guys were just done with that show, and it shows. It's like you can really see their lack of their neglect and their hackishness, their inability to actually run a show. Which is, oh, that's right. They've got the I don't know if that's ever going to happen. I think it's still in pre-production. They're still like casting, but they're doing the Three Body Problem, that Chinese sci-fi, with all white actors, which is genius. So they're going to blow that as well. And there's already a Chinese version of it anyhow, so I think they should just subtitle the Chinese version and release that in that would be great. I guess that there's probably like, Netflix has protected the market against that sort of thing, so you couldn't actually get the rights to that. But I would definitely go over to China and negotiate the rights for the Chinese series, just to fuck with Netflix and that garbage they're trying to do. Yeah. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you liked, and that's I think I went on about this before, but that was the thing they approached Bob Odenkirk, that plays Saul Goodman in that series, to do a prequel series with that character. And in Breaking Bad, Saul Goodman is just the comic relief. He's just like the kind of tension breaker, just like the sleazy ambulance chasing lawyer type character. And it didn't seem like, how could you possibly make a series with this character, because there's nothing to him. But then they showed him what they wanted to do, and it's pretty impressive. They gave him a brother, they gave him a backstory, and they kind of made that Saul character his escape, like his escape from, kind of his failure and his uh, all the things that he screwed up in his life. He kind of fell into that character like really hard by the time we get to Breaking Bad, because he's just running away from every good thing that he ruined in his life. All right. So that's spoiler free, right? But good, yeah, really good. I was happy to. It's so rare that you have satisfying, like, well-crafted stuff, and I don't know why people gave El Dorado so much hate. I mean, having the Jesse character carry a whole movie is not, is not a great choice. He's not an amazing actor, but it was, nice to see what happened with that character, and you could trust them. You can trust what they're doing with that story, and you can't do that in most cases. It looks like a carved wooden spoon. In most cases, you can't do that because that stuff is so unreliable, and incompetent writers write themselves into corners that they have no idea how to get out of, and so they just do ridiculous things, ridiculous, really amateur stuff. That's why so much stuff feels like fan fiction now, like especially things that are based on established IPs or whatever. Modern writers, and even talented, acclaimed modern writers, cannot write stuff that doesn't feel like fan fiction. They can't immerse themselves, and I guess because it's not theirs, or they're trying to inject too much of themselves. I think that's probably what it is. It's just people are too narcissistic now. Oh, good, good. Yeah, that was much more violent and enjoyable than I thought it would be. Yeah, and that's the story of, what happens to because the last scene of Jesse in Breaking Bad is just him being released from this long-term detention. Like they basically chained him up in a lab and made him cook meth, and it's his escape, and he's just like screaming and crying and driving out into the desert, as you have no idea what happens to him after that. And so El Dorado kind of finishes his character. And yeah, so it's good. Oh man, but I don't know. The so that, I guess that's it for the Breaking Bad universe. They're not going to do another series, but they are. I guess Vince Gilligan is pitching another series to studios, so another original idea, which is nice. I mean, he's like the most mature and I think accomplished that he's been, so it'll be interesting to see what a new idea would look like. But yeah, I think that's just the problem is people, like anybody under 40 now is, and no offense, present company excluded, but it really seems like a lot of people that are trying to write or be creative professionally under 40 are so narcissistic that they can't get out of the way. They can't get their self-obsession out of the way to actually make good art anymore. There's no selflessness. There's no, considering story and character. It's just like, I have control of this, and I want to do this, and I always wanted to see this happen. And that's fine if it's a comic book or, some inconsequential media that you're just doing for a paycheck. That's fine, whatever. But I can't believe some of these really big characters and IPs like television series are being tainted by people, and so if it's not their narcissism, it's their politics, and those two things are so intertwined now. People's political agendas and their narcissism are, you can't even separate it now. They're so intertwined with their identities and what effect do they want to have on the world, which is none. And all of this is none, zero effect. Yeah, it's going to be really interesting. I mean, I won't be alive to be able to do it, but be interesting to look back at this time and be able to kind of trace. I don't know, though. People might be so fucked up in the future that they won't even be able to make any sense of it. But to kind of trace this this weird thing that's going on. Just a lot of stuff is bad. Hey, Rev, how's it going? Yeah, that's right. That would be amazing. Well, thankfully and I guess we can be thankful that there's not a lot of money in that, or there is money in it, but it's like such a you know limited group that it's not. None of the corporations are ever going to pick up on that for it being having mass appeal. But we won't get any biblical TV shows and see all that portrayed in such crazy ways. Well, that's just. I mean, it's that's the antithesis of most of the thinking now. That's very interesting. That because my whole life, just like the Soviet Union, like stood uh, in political opposition to the U.S. my whole childhood, and also the Christian right. They were such a force, protesting so many movies and any properties, television shows, anything that they didn't find acceptable, and being able to fundraise, being a pretty powerful fundraiser for the Republicans. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I think that's like fallen off. There's still the super churches and everything. So there's still a lot of money in that, but it just doesn't seem to. Maybe they've just kind of been locked out in some ways to the current power structure. But that threatened. I was playing Dungeons and Dragons then, and that threatened that hobby. Like that, they did that same thing that they did with heavy metal music, and then later in the '90s video games, and demonized it. And the Satanic Panic, said that this is making kids worship the devil and kill themselves and everything because they're playing this game, and there's demons and pentagrams and things in it. But yeah, so that actually had some cultural and political influence, and now I think it's very different. Uh, oh yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was watching something that they were talking about how the atheist movement too um, kind of mutated into kind of a weird social justice thing, like the it became online activism. So there was a lot of atheist groups and people following. I don't know if it was YouTubers or what was the best way to get your your message out there, but there was a movement called that they started to call Atheism Plus, that was like atheism plus social justice. And so without the structure of Catholicism or Christianity or anything, it was this set of righteous rules that dictated who was good and who was bad. So I don't know. I don't know that much about it. I don't really know anybody that was active in that movement. I think that was just like early social media. But yeah, yeah, it's very funny. Crazies make crazies. That's a good way to put it, Rev. Yeah, and I think people can just take that desire to have to be passionate about something and just focus it wherever. And if you're not a person that has any actual like principles or anything that you kind of feel is built into you, you can just jump onto any moving train that you want to get involved with some other kind of movement. Yeah, because you see that, yeah, like people that are um, yeah, just that have that were very easily convinced of things and become very passionate about it. You see, they can very seamlessly move between all kinds of. I don't want to insult any movements or religions or whatever, but they can move pretty easily. It's funny too, the cults, the kind of susceptible to cults kind of behavior that the U.S. had in the '70s, Japan had in the '90s. So that was the rise. There was a lot of groups, but that was the rise. The biggest, the most infamous one was that Om Shinrikyo cult, where this goofy kind of con man, chubby loser, like he was a guy that like when he was and I'm saying this like there are still people that actively worship him, and like the group still exists in this like transformed way. So I'm sure people still think he's a deity, and I'll be murdered live on stream. But the history of him is so crazy because his first thing that he tried to do to kind of develop a following and make money was do these weird photos, these weird levitation photos. I don't know if this like came from India or where this was, but these weird like angles or tricks that where it looks like he's floating or either like jumping and like crossing his legs and take a photo in midair so it looks like he's floating. And so that was like his earliest scam to prove that he was this, you know, had these divine powers or was this special being. But they said the creation of him, he was always like this weird bully as a kid, and he had I think he was like legally blind, like he had bad eyesight, very bad eyesight, and but he wasn't, he could still see, and he was put in a school for the blind. So basically, like in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. He was this like gangster, like, you know, crime lord in that school, and just basically controlled everything because he was the only guy that could, you know, see decently. And so that like they really said that that shaped him as this like you know real scoundrel. And so then he just spent his whole life coming up with all kinds of ways to make money from you know these kind of weird spiritual scams. And the height of his thing, like people were paying hundreds of dollars to drink tea made from his hair or like drink his bath water and stuff. It was just horrible. But that was it was in the 90s, so that's the you know, similar to the era in the 70s where people were like, you know, Jonestown, and people were joining cults to kind of get away from the, you know, what they saw as the inequality or oppression or poverty in the U.S. They were looking for new, you know, communes and new ways to live, and that cult was crazy. And the strangest thing about it was so many kind of elites, not I guess, yeah, politically they had some connections. I guess they started they did have some connections and some influence in politics, and also blackmailed and threatened and assassinated. They assassinated judges and things that ruled against them. But they had a lot of very high level, very intelligent like graduates. What would be the equivalent of Harvard was Tokyo University here. So a lot of graduates from Tokyo University and people that knew you know, like nuclear science and like all kinds of like very high level abilities. And that's when they started to get ideas to make bombs and weapons, and they started to make their own sarin gas. You know, they started to buy chemicals, and they made a little compound out in the middle of nowhere. And so that's where the Tokyo gas attacks comes from. That cult was responsible for the Tokyo gas attacks that basically just destroyed Japan's, you know, confidence and economy and everything. I mean, I don't know if it's directly responsible, but it's like the point where the bubble burst on Japan's like 80s boom, where there was just so much money and so much prosperity, and just things just deflated. The bubble burst, and things have just been in kind of a deflated kind of upside down economic state since then, like since the mid 90s, and then 94, I think. So it's what, 30 years? Oh my god. Oh, I knew, Rev. I knew you've been drinking his tea, right? Yeah, I think, and that's the funny part in Japan too. They still have capital punishment, the execution. But the way the system works is they don't announce it. Like in the U.S., there's like they announce it, and it's like a legal thing, and you could get pardoned. Like, you know, there could be some reprieve, some legal wrangling, or some like a governor or something of whatever state you're in can pardon or not, or stop an execution. And in Japan, it's just unannounced. It just gets ordered. Nobody knows about it, and then the news comes the next day. They were hung, and it's always by hanging. It's pretty rough. But so they arrested a lot of the leaders of that group, and just randomly you'll hear about them being hung because they don't want to create, you know, this kind of build up and this whole event that will martyr them basically. bring too much attention, so they just very randomly just pull people out of their cells and hang them. So I think everyone's or most people are gone that were the heads of that original '90s cult, but it still exists in a different form. They renamed themselves, and the funny thing is they were both followers in Japan and Russia, so the Russian version still exists, and they're just renamed. But they do believe, and there's really scary footage on there because they had the power of like Scientology at its height in the U.S. Here, because they would disappear, like children would disappear into this cult, and families were like, "Where's my daughter? Where's my son?" And they would have public speeches or news events, like press events or whatever, and people would go in front of the cameras and say, "My son," and give a name, disappeared. They have him. They're not telling me where he is. And then that guy would get attacked. Like, so there were people, you would see like angry fathers and wives, like, trying to pull them away. The mothers trying to pull them away from the camera because you'll become a target of this cult, and they have the ability to go after you because they assassinated political opponents and things. So it was it was a very scary time. There's a lot of that footage though of people wanting to, are so angry and upset that this cult has so much power and control over their family members, and it comes from the rise of that stuff. It started in the '70s here, but I think it got the worst in the '90s. But I think the biggest problem was it adopted the kind of British and American freedom of religion. So the government has very little power to do anything against any religious group. And so they can't, because they're a religious organization, who knows how true that is, but if they consider themselves that, then, no taxes, and they are free from a lot of scrutiny and things that other businesses or whatever would otherwise be. So there's a lot less ability to control them. And then they gained so much political influence. They definitely had like local police and things under their control, because when incidents would happen, when they were like making their gas and stuff, and some of it would leak out, and like the whole neighborhood would be like, "What is this? My eyes are, burning, and some horrible smell is coming from that building." It would just be covered up. There would just the investigation. Okay, we're going to investigate. We're going to go into that building, and then they'd wait 4 days, and like, okay, now we're going into that building, and of course there's nothing there because the cult could get everything out of there in the time that they were delayed because of some crooked local politician, local bureaucrat. Oh, capital! Oh no, yeah, I'm not an angle on capital punishment. Yeah, that's some kind of punishment. Yeah, I don't want it to get too dark. Yeah, I wonder what. Yeah, let me think about that. Let me think about like punishment or capital punishment as a theme. Yeah, it's really rough. I mean, it's one of those things that, all systems, all like government systems, you have to tolerate abuse and mistakes. There are errors and there are mistakes. So like, welfare, there are people that don't deserve to collect, they're not, they don't qualify. They're stealing, public money, or, they're gaming the system. So they're getting too much. And so you have to tolerate that in something as inefficient as a, bureaucracy in a government system. You have to accept that. That's going to happen, and there's mistakes are going to be made, and things are going to go badly, and you have to be able to tolerate that. But when that system is killing people, is an execution, like directly, the state is directly pulling pushing the button or pulling the the lever on people's lives, you can't tolerate any errors. They can't. Oh, yeah, I guess he was innocent. There was a mix-up with the DNA. Like, you cannot have that sort of thing happening. So I think that's why you just, a system that a lot of people's beliefs are a system that's capable of doing that is ultimately evil, because there's no way it can be 100% right. If one innocent person is killed, then that system kills innocence and is evil. So it's a very difficult, morally, it's a very difficult thing to excuse. But, I guess you can unravel that by saying, well, how many people are dead because of other types of bureaucratic, um, mistakes or irresponsibility or corruption. But it's not direct. I think that's the problem with capital punishment is it's directly the state killing someone. But then you say, well, and then your military goes into other countries and directly murders people and drone attacks, and so it's a hard argument to make. And once you say, okay, everyone's got dirty hands and there's nothing, it's all morally relativist, relative, then you just give up. But that's not. You can't do that. That's not a way to. It's not a way to live. Although I think that's how everyone's living now. Jeez. So I'm drawing really big this week. I can't tell. Yes, Pranila, how are you? Yes, I'm recreating recreating your kitchen and shuffling the dishes around. You can probably hear them, right? Clanking together. Yeah, just my warm up has started. I still haven't gained the ability to talk and draw very well, so I'm doing both of them poorly at the same time. But I'm trying to warm up and get the line. Oops. The line working well, and then just come up with inspiration from objects, and it usually is boxes, but this week it's, I guess, short cylinders and coffee mugs. So that's what it looks like. It usually looks like the sorting facility of a post office, or the counter of someone's the counter of someone's kitchen. Oh, come on, I gotta switch this. There we go. All right. There we go. I wish I could help. I wish my pen was that strong. That's right. I like Rev's comment. Sorry, I missed that. I think you could solve wrongful convictions by sending the vote to Twitter. They seem to be the arbiters of truth over there. That's right. It'll just be an internet vote. I think everyone's life should basically come down to like an internet poll. Yeah, that's right. Live or die. That's crazy. Nice. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear it, Vanilla. Oh yeah, American Idol style. There we go. Just a call-in. You have them strapped to the bed for the lethal injection, and you just wait for the votes to come in. Call now, or text 105 to. And you'll get all those answers. Like when they do internet polls to name things, and everything is named Bodie McBoatface or whatever. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, it's interesting that in like the social media era, how politics, and I don't think it's not real I think that's why things are so messed up and corrupt right now, is because people are distracted with social media and think they're like actually doing something. They're occupied. You gave Americans this like pretend political play set on Twitter or social media, and they think they're doing something. They think they're changing minds. They're getting stuff done. They're winning political arguments for their side. And basically, it's like not connected in any way. It's like kids playing with something, and meanwhile, the adults, which is like the corrupt bureaucrats and unelected bureaucrats and politicians, are just running away with it. And people are so distracted by their own little stupid arguments and defending their side of things that they don't have any clue that they're so disconnected from the political process by doing that. But the thing that's funny is in countries like South Korea, like the public opinion is crazy powerful. Like literally politicians are so afraid of the public that they will kind of switch. They wait to see how people are going to react to something, and then they move, based on that. So public opinion is just crazy, and that's why they're also able to stay very anti-Japan, because it's very easy to get the Korean public, especially the older generation, hating Japan, for war crimes and atrocities, and so that can motivate a lot of politics there. It's really, yeah, it's really crazy, but it almost feels like that's what America hopes for, is to have this mob, this internet mob that is making decisions. Just yeah, brutal. But yeah, I think people don't realize how little they're actually doing by arguing online. And I'm going to come up with a hashtag that's going to blow everybody's mind. Yikes. Oh, yeah. Public execution on TV. Yeah, it was. I forget which country it was. There was I have this subscribed to this like subreddit that does a lot of like historical photographs, so like these very crazy key moments in history and stuff, and they were showing that the last public execution, I think in France, and it was like not that long ago. It was like in in memory, in human memory, like the 60s or something. It couldn't have been that late, but it was like post-war, the last public execution. I was like, whoa. I guess I should Google that before. I can't remember the date, but I should. And of course, in in the Middle East, they're still doing it. But the last public execution in the West, 36, I guess it was. Oh no, that was that they're talking America. Ooh, wow, 1936. That was America, and I'm sure that was it's in Kentucky, so I'm sure it was a lynching. Yeah. Yeah, it's all based in the U.S. I guess I should put Europe, because America's had public execution forever. 39 guillotine. Oh, it was 39. Okay, no, it wasn't the 60s. It was 39. But yeah, the last guillotine execution was 1939, so it was pre-war. But capital punishment. 96. Russia. Russia was 96. So Belarus and Russia had public execution up to 1996. Jesus. Okay. Well, there's your argument against is Russia a European country or not? Yikes. Yeah. So the last guillotine was 39. So that was pre World War II. Okay, let's get off that topic. Yeah, 94. Yeah. So, yeah, I think like not state executions, but the like outdoor, like an outdoor hanging or decapitation or whatever is kind of what I was thinking about for like public execution, where there could be an audience, because executions, state executions are still not public. Like the people can come, but it's usually like victims and family members and officials or law enforcement associated. It's a closed event, and they don't televise it, thank God, or anything. But I was thinking like the style of execution where anybody walking by could be just stand there and say, oh, what's going on here, and watch them construct a guillotine. Yeah, but I'm glad they kept that alive in Russia and Belarus for so long. I was worried. They just couldn't let it go. It was too much fun. I guess when your TV is like Soviet television, a public execution sounds like a good time. Better than watching that Soviet era news. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, we prefer to. America prefers to have their let the public handle their own public executions. Just have people shooting each other, so they don't even get into the system. That saves tax dollars right there. Basically, if you just give certain neighborhoods their own ability to be their own firing squad, they'll just chase each other out of territory. Whoa. And so what's going on here? I've got like the same thing drawn too many times. God damn. All right. Uh, yeah, it's crazy. Uh, of course, it's on the wrong there. Okay. Try it again on the correct layer. Oy. Yeah, I've got to find a new show to get into. So, Unknown Girl suggested Blackbird. I'll have to take a look. I'm not sure. I thought I recognized that title, but I'm not sure. I watched a little bit of the guy that Greg Daniels that did the American Office. I watched a little bit of Upload because it was like sci-fi, kind of like my a little bit like my like a funnier version of my kind of story stuff, but it's about a virtual afterlife. But there were like little cutie speculative future stuff in it. So I watched a little bit of that. There's it's kind of fun, but they're making it into a will they won't they kind of romantic comedy already. I think you could solve wrongful convictions by sending the vote to Twitter. Oh wait, I read that already. I'm like way behind on the comments. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Yeah, Lethal Injection. Fun stuff. I still haven't watched it yet. So if it's bad, don't blame me. I'm totally blaming you, Unknown Girl. Yeah, I'll have to see what it's about. And it takes me like usually the first. I'm so simple. Like the first episode of a series has to have a really good hook, or I just like I don't know. I never make it past like the first 1.5 episodes. I'll just give up in the middle of the second episode. So like a show like Breaking Bad, like they did such a good job. The end of that. If you haven't seen it, this isn't really gonna spoil anything. But the because I think the episode starts with this. The end of that episode and the beginning of that episode is basically the main character holding a gun. Pointing a gun down the road in the desert, standing there in his tidy whities, like waiting for the police to arrive, and have a shootout with the police. And so that immediately hooks you. It's like, okay, so this show is going to be a ride like this, and yeah, they did a really good hook for that first one. That's true. Yeah, that was a. That's true. The mid '90s. Yeah, not only were a crazy time in Japan, but yeah, that's right. Yeah, LA riots. That was crazy. I think I was still in Chicago during the LA riots. I remember watching them on TV, and my ex had an aunt that was working, and so she was driving some of the roads that were getting mobbed, and had to change. She's driving to like a law office or whatever. So I don't think she was in imminent danger, but she, yeah, of course, that was the beginning of everyone pretending to be a victim. So of course she was heavily involved, and it was all about her. But yeah, I remember her having some interaction with it, meaning she had to like reroute because it was just too crazy. We've come so far since then. Just yeah, America is still such a mess. Doesn't feel like it's come anywhere since the 90s. We just felt more indestructible. Oh, yikes! Wow, like a carjacking in the U.S. Was that in Chicago? Oh, nice. That's terrible. A little dog and a girlfriend. Oh, that's horrible. Yeah, I lived in Chicago and Los Angeles and interacted a lot with not great neighborhoods, and luckily didn't have any things stolen, and tagged with spray paint and but nothing. No strong arm robbery or no gun robbery. That really sucks. Yeah, where was that, Pernilla? That sounds miserable. Yeah, north side of Chicago. Yeah, right before I left, or right after I left Chicago, all I heard, all of my friends that were still there, and then my brother-in-law, my former brother-in-law, I don't even know how to say any of this stuff. went to school there after, and yeah, his friends, everyone's getting like strong arm robbed. I guess because maybe they changed gun laws or whatever, so people stopped using guns and were just like hitting people with pipes and stuff, and so like killing people because you're just hitting somebody from behind. So they're just wake up on the ground, uh, bleeding in their skull, and don't know what the heck happened. But then nobody gets caught with a gun in the commission of a crime, so maybe that became safer. But a lot of people were getting strong arm robbed after I left, and now Chicago's at least the South Side is the shooting gallery of the Midwest. Damon, no, that sucks. Yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't live too far, yeah, from Cabrini Green for a while. Yeah, it's all gone now. They tore those buildings down. Thank God. But yeah, Cabrini Green, pop, 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 every night. Every night, people were shooting across that little playground between the towers there. Yeah, you just heard gunfire all the time. And even in LA, you heard a decent amount of gunfire. But yeah, Chicago, oof. Yeah, so that was like Old Town right on the border of where Cabrini Green was. I don't know what that neighborhood is bordering that. But yeah, it was we were on this like edge of gentrification. This buyer for who was the landlord that he worked for, the Italian designer. So he wasn't home a lot, but he had a lot of money. So he bought a building, this nice like 3-story brick apartment building, and was just renovating it one at a time. So he renovated very quickly the second floor, and moved into the top floor or the basement, and then was working on the first floor, and then he made the first floor gorgeous. He did, put a ton of money into it, and then he moved out of there and rented the first floor, and I think then he then did the full renovation on the floor after we left. But yeah, it was crazy. Wow, yeah, that's funny. I guess nobody, you looked like somebody they didn't want to mess with. Yeah, that neighborhood though. Yeah, I had to like walk around in that neighborhood, right on the edge of that. And yeah, as long as you weren't, yeah, looking too much like a victim. If you just looked like you didn't have any money and you, weren't heavy on eye contact, you could make it through neighborhoods pretty well. Chicago. Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. What a place. Yeah, that's really sad. I don't think I know anybody left. There's nobody left there. Everyone's moved away. Uh, People just don't want to deal with it. Oh yeah, big boots. Nice. Yeah, yeah, that's too bad. Yeah, that was like always when I was growing up, that was the nearest big city because it was always closer than New York, no matter where I lived when I was growing up. So yeah, Chicago became the goal, and it's just too bad, and that there's no kind of political, yeah, what's the term? Any like motivation or any energy to fix that. They're just gonna let it keep happening and letting it get worse and worse. Uh, mm. Oh, good. Oh, that's good. Yeah, the only people that I know that are still there are just former instructors, teachers, and stuff from school. But that's good. I'm glad it didn't chase everybody away. Yeah, if I had to move back to the U.S., I have no idea where I would even go right now because I don't feel. I mean, I guess it would just depend on employment. But if I could just randomly choose wherever, I have no idea where I would go because so many of my favorite cities seem a little wrecked. Their politics have gotten weird, or their the taxes or whatever are just out of control. Like the cost of living is just like insane. And I think I'm too old for New York City. I don't think I could do that anymore. You got to be a little bit more young and fearless and ignorant of what could happen to you. Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm stuck on this island for life. Yeah, maybe the mountains. Yeah, I would love I mean, the winters would be rough, but I would love Montana or Wyoming or someplace, near the Rockies with like beautiful, because that was if I left Japan, that's the thing I would miss the most is mountains. Having like being surrounded, even though, it's little volcanic mountains in Japan, being surrounded by mountains all the time is nice. I liked that about Los Angeles, is the kind of mountain landscape. So I would miss that a lot. Oh, I'm not getting anywhere here. So I'd miss that a lot. So yeah, maybe someplace with brutal winters. Oh, back in Sweden. Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, I've been talking to a lot of Swedish people lately for the other podcast, a lot of game designers. So that's very funny. It's funny to and always, like, not during the interviews, but I'm always asking them, different things that I remember, or just about how things are. And it does seem like the makeup, like I mean, Sweden was very Swedish looking, like very, white, white, blonde-haired, blue-eyed looking when I was there, and now it looks like there's been, there always were a lot of like, Turkish and Middle Eastern immigrants, but now it looks like it's gotten much bigger, and so the population is much more and not diverse, just like now it's like two-sided. It's like Middle Eastern and European. But that's the only thing I've noticed. Like any news stories or anything I've seen, I'm always surprised how much more mixed the population looks. But that was 30 years ago. Oh no, drought. Yeah. Oh yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I don't know yeah, it would be hard, and so I think yeah, without any big motivation, it would be hard to leave here, especially if my daughter doesn't go to school abroad. Yeah, there's no big reason. I may, have to temporarily move back for family reasons. Like if I have a parent that is alone and in bad shape, I might have to either relocate for a while for that. But that's going to be wherever they are. I'm not going to be able to choose that. All right, I think we'll go with something like that. For one of these. So who is that? That's this one and this one. And this. Okay. There we go. Oh, yeah, right. Drought is, yeah, forest fires. That's brutal. Yikes. Yeah, that was the thing that was never easy to get used to, is the fire season in Southern California. Just because everything turns to tinder. Basically, there's like 3 weeks of rain, and then otherwise it's super dry. And even like they said, I don't know if, I mean, they said that it happens, but like static electricity can cause fires there because everything is so dried and ready to go. Ready to go up. All right. Yeah, so we'll do a cream and coffee thing. I can't think. I just like that composition. But that was crazy. There were some seasons though, because I worked for a while. I worked in this like the twin tower office building in the valley. So we're surrounded by a rim of mountains, and one season there was fire on all of the mountains, and so the smoke came into the valley. So the sky was like, not black, but like dark gray, and then there was this like orange burning line, along the rim of the mountains. It looked like something from the Lord of the Rings or whatever. It was really strange, and it lasted for a while. They couldn't get it under control for a long, long time. Oh, fires in Northern California seem to have been worse in recent years. Yeah, yeah, we had some. I think we had some dry. Oh, good. Oh, great. Yeah, it's good to catch up with you. It's good to see you, Pernilla. Very good. Yeah, I met. Wow, so I've known Pernilla for 30 years, maybe more than that. Oh, that's scary. Yeah, we met when I was the homestay student in Sweden. So yeah, and I got back in touch with my homestay family too, Pernilla. They found me on Facebook. Those the Jorgensens. Jorgensen? Um, but yeah, that was fun. And all the kids are all grown up. I feel insanely old. Wow, yeah, right. 88, 89. God damn. That's crazy. Yeah, thanks for saying hi. Some empty friend. Yeah. Those the fires are that's terrifying too because you can so easily lose your house or have to evacuate and that stuff in California. Yeah, yeah. The kids are doing great. The kids all have kids now from the family, and yeah, it's insane. Makes me feel old as hell. But my kids will have kids someday, right? This generation, what are they doing? Uh, oh, that's right. I have to officially stop live streaming it once I'm a grandfather. That's just depressing. Is that a cake? No, that would be too depressing. Nice. Have a good night. Yeah. Take care, Panila. Ah, nice. Oh man. Yeah. So yeah, I can't believe. I guess everybody has that experience. You just have to live long enough to go. Oh my God, I've lived too long. Or your memories, they don't feel further away like the way our memories work. I guess because it's all like kind of a web network. Memories don't feel more distant. I guess you can lose details, but when you recall something, you don't feel like, oh yeah, that was an old one because it has some blue color to it or something. Like nothing happens to your memory. So when you remember something, there's no sense of scale of time. So something that happened last month, something that happened 30 years ago, kind of sit in the same, maybe not the same detail, but they have the same resolution in your head. Uh, that's right. I'll be drawing exclusively for my their grandchildren. Then I just won't tell you. That's the thing. I won't live stream as a grandfather, but you won't know when it happens. So maybe I'll go a little bit past that date. Uh, yeah, that has to be the strange thing too. Like with divorce and everything, the way it is, people end up single very late in life. So it's got to be so depressing to be like a dating grandmother, like you want to show people pictures of your grandchildren, but it's like maybe not on the first date. Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, right. Suddenly I'm like, everything's about babies. This is getting really weird. Uh, yeah. Yeah, with the distance too. I think it's oh maybe two cakes. Yeah, that might be fun. Um, with the distance that a lot of people deal with, and now people are like I know a lot of people that have international families and stuff. A lot of distance to cover for visiting families and bringing the babies around and stuff, and it never feels like enough. I think people never feel like it works very well. You always have to favor somebody, some location, because otherwise it's just too brutal. I mean, the long distance, it's hard to visit both sides of the family and everything. So yeah, there's never any good balance with that, even when you're in the same. I mean, I think if I was still on the West Coast or whatever, it would be the same thing. it's just really hard to keep in touch with everyone physically, like in real life. You can, put your pictures on social media for them, but you can't be there. So they always miss stuff, So it wouldn't matter. International seems, it's just more expensive. International is more expensive, but it's not any less difficult. And it sounds like domestic air travel, sorry, in the U.S. is brutal right now. So I don't know if I'd be doing any kind of flying. Yeah, they don't have. Nobody has enough pilots, enough ground staff. Nobody has enough anything. I just made a can of frosting joke, didn't I? Okay, so maybe not a can of frosting. How about an egg? Oh, did they tell that this is really funny? The kind of, I guess you can consider it sexism, but the an observation, like they say that medicine never studies a woman's body enough. Like there's never enough. Man is the default, and women is like an aberration when people are doing research for diseases and whatever. That they always say that there's a kind of a sexism built into a lot of medical research and everything, and that's kind of like an egg. But a funny thing, so leave it to marketing then, leave it to Madison Avenue to actually consider consider a woman's biology. So why so at the time when instant cakes and instant baked goods were created, like from a box, where you could make muffins and biscuits and stuff from a box, at the time it was just add water. It was powder and water, and everything was in there, and all dehydrated, and you added water and you baked it, right? But they noticed, marketing noticed that certain times of the month women had different levels of like commitment to what they wanted to do. So just adding water didn't feel like baking. It didn't feel like doing anything. So there were certain cycles, let's say, where women wouldn't buy just that totally instant cake. So they took the dehydrated egg out of the mix and said, you have to add 2 eggs. And so that was just enough to strike this balance between certain times of the month where women literally have no motivation, no creativity, want things to be as simple and stress-free as possible, and other times where they want to be creative, where they want to feel like they're doing, adding something, doing something more. And so these cake mixes had to find this like balance. So they decided, okay, we'll take the egg. I think it's oil now too. I think they take the vegetable oil out. So vegetable oil and eggs came out of the mix, so that it was just enough to feel sometimes of the month where you want to, it's not too much hassle, so you'd make the cake, and other times where it's like, okay, I can do this, and maybe I'll do a little bit extra, or I can add something else. So they like got in on literally women's cycles, like hormonal cycles, and how that affected them, mentally, and took advantage of it. And that's why you have to add 2 eggs to a cake mix, where you don't actually have to add anything. They could put those eggs in there, but they don't. Right? It's so funny. Yeah, but they really, and I guess because, primarily, especially like, just post-war, women are and I guess they still are in a lot of cultures, the primary shoppers in most households. So they're making a lot of the decisions, purchasing decisions. And so they have to pay attention to that, or else they're going to, have a week every month where they fuck up and they have nothing, nothing anybody wants to buy. Does that look like an egg? Let's try again. But I thought that was very interesting, and I have no idea if that's true or not. But it may just be another sexist story. But I thought that was interesting that the only people paying attention, that people trying to sell cake mix, because we never really heard that before how because I think that information would be quite useful for relationships in general. You know, realizing that there's just sometimes that minimal effort is the best situation. All right. None of these are very. They look like rocks. There's some like kind of. I think it's just I'm not being very symmetrical. That's better. I guess it's not that much different. All right, and we can shrink that down a little bit. Oh, so just what I was talking about, right? I guess that's why I started talking about it. All right. So how do I tell an egg in the cake mix a joke? All right. Nice. They taste much better when you do. Yes, that's true. When you're participating more, but actually, like fresh ingredients, of course, would have to taste better because that's the thing. Like every time I see like those biscuits in a tube or whatever, I was like, oh, biscuits would be so good, but those aren't. I mean, they are biscuits, but they've got so much preservative and chemical in them that you taste, and like weird like binders and stuff to give them, you know, different textures. That I always regret like eating something like that because yeah, made from scratch is always gonna, you know, be much better. But yeah, all that stuff. I guess I'm just finally getting you know, like outside of that. But there's so much in like breakfast, American like breakfast cereal and baked goods and stuff. So many crazy preservatives, and if something gets a little bit old, or you know, you just do the wrong thing to it, you can just taste a lot of the preservatives in there, which are necessary because of trucking and everything in the U.S. transportation. But yeah, that's the thing that's crazy in this hot, humid weather in Japan. We go to the bakery and buy like the fresh, a loaf of fresh bread. You got to refrigerate it like immediately, like within a day and a half, it's molding already because it's so hot here. Just perfect molding conditions, and the bread has nothing. It's, you know, has no preservatives at all, so there's nothing that's going to keep that from happening. So you got to eat hard refrigerator bread if you don't want it to be colorful right away. All right, so the scale is a little off. I think if these are actually cakes, they'd be a little bit smaller. These are giant grade A giant eggs. All right. This might just be a weird non sequitur one where the eggs just kept looking at them. Okay, wait, so I have to oh wait, so I'm moving now away. I don't need two cakes if I'm gonna do this joke. It should be something about the two cakes. Or let's try this. They don't have to. That looks a little crazy. Adding two eggs. All right. All right. Something like that. Okay, so let me get rid of everything. Everything else. So let's get rid of all this. Oh, I got rid of everything. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Oh yeah, we can do adding eggs when to add the eggs. There we go. It's a when to add the eggs joke. Yum. How's it going? Oh, good to see you. Oh, yeah. So apologies for the shift in schedule. I was I was brutalized by the bacterially friendly climate here. Yeah, a little food poisoning knocked the live stream to another day. All right, so these will be little. Okay. I like the compositions. I don't know what the joke is, but we'll figure it out. All right, yeah. So a joke. The joke will be something about when to add the eggs. So we'll do a chocolate and a strawberry. Just so visually it's more interesting. And a little off color for the eggs. So they're not just pure white. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it was brutal. It was really bad. It was the worst stomach cramps I've had in a while. And it just wouldn't go away. So, yeah, but luckily, no, I didn't spew anything. I was really worried, though. It was hard there for a bit. I'm sure that would have shortened. I'm the worst about that. I'm sure that would shorten the length of everything, but I just hate puking when it's not more voluntary. When you don't feel like you deserve it, like from drinking. When I feel like I deserve it and I should have known better, then I'll accept it. But yeah, when it's just some kind of food-related thing, I fight it to the bitter end. But I'm sure I would have felt better much faster. Yeah, I can never go into. Let's do. Yeah, I guess I can do red then on the carton. Never be in fashion because I can't voluntarily keep my figure by purging. Let's not do that. All right. Yeah, that's a little bit lopsided, the milk carton, but it'll work. Oh wow, yeah. If you eat a lot of Mexican in Los Angeles, you'll get it. Eventually, the carnitas will get you. Yeah, I've had like Indian, Mexican. Those are the two big, the two most dangerous ones, I think. But yeah, in Los Angeles, I mean, the food, they have a big letter grade for like the food safety that they put on all the restaurant windows and stuff. And the reason that they have to do that is because, yeah, there's really bad food safety issues there. And they'll just serve you whatever. It's like, it's cooked. They'll be fine. So, yeah, I've had, like, literally, like, just black stuff coming out of me. I had no idea. Like, what the hell did I eat? What's going on? Sorry if anyone's close to dinner time. I didn't mean that. But, yeah, I've had some brutal, mostly Los Angeles, I've had a really brutal food poisoning, but it's rare. It's almost once from a restaurant here, but very rarely from restaurants here. They're really, I guess, to protect their reputation, they're real strict with food safety. But it's mostly so this was, I think, transportation of something didn't stay refrigerated enough. My mother-in-law's been cooking a little bit for us, and bringing that back and keeping it cold enough, I think, is a little bit harder than we thought. So I got a hold of something. In the transportation process, something went horribly wrong. But it was just me. I mean, I think I'm the only one that eats, too much. But yeah, it was just me. So luckily, nobody else got it. And I think I have the weakest stomach of anybody. But that was brutal. So sorry to miss out. Yeah, and that was luckily when I was younger, relatively. Um, all that bad restaurant stuff. But yeah, there would be so there's A through D rating, and D means you're closed until you fix the problems, and C is like you're right on the verge of being shut down by the health department for uh, unsafe conditions in the kitchen. And literally the entire row of Thai restaurants in Hollywood is they all have C ratings. And probably just because they cook, it's all Thai immigrants, so they all cook very traditional ways. So whatever the rules are for what a kitchen needs in the U.S., they can do it without killing people and without their oops. Yeah, the way they cook and the way they do things is fine, but it doesn't match the wherever the health department. What's going on here? Health department thinks your kitchens look like they're all like right on the verge of being shut down, but it's all I've eaten there, yeah, lots of times, and it's all safe. We have weird stuff like donut shops. Like, how unsafe can a donut shop be? They're like frying everything or like cooking in oil. What is going on? But yeah, there's some funny things that would just shut down suddenly. A lot of it too was for like employee contamination and stuff. Ugh. Unintentional cleanse. Yeah, right. I was I was purging. I didn't meditate, but I was sure was yeah, sure was purging. Yikes. What's going on? I got some weird memory delay. So nothing is selected. Nothing. Oh, it's not saving either. Let's be careful. We could lose Photoshop. Well, it's good to see you, Yum. Wow. Yeah, you missed all the public execution talk. Cults, Japanese cults and public execution. Nice. Oh. Is it back? I see a cursor. What is going on? Yeah, something strange. I wonder if I'm getting... I think the swap file is too... I did a bunch of heavy-duty video editing, so I wonder if the hard drive is full of swap files, like temporary files, and it's slowing everything down. Well, we'll just kind of wait for, Photoshop to decide what it wants to do. Guess I'll have to go back to like 2019 or whatever when Photoshop literally crashed 11 times during the stream. That was insane. I would like go and then it would crash, and then and then it would crash. That was the worst, and I kind of could feel it coming. Yeah, I just hope OBS doesn't crash. Nice. Nice. Yum with some super immunity. That's good. Yeah, that was that was really crazy. It became fun. You know how something, it's like that cycle. Like at first it's funny, haha, to cope, with the frustration. Then you're so angry for like the 6 or 7 times in the middle, and then it gets funny again. It's like one of those bad jokes that funny, unfunny, and then funny again. It's ridiculous. Yeah, something is. I have to. I know I've got plenty of space, but I was having this happen when I was editing video too. System was choking a little bit, and it's not a. It's just a couple of years old PC, so they shouldn't be doing this. I probably gotta get some stuff off of here that I don't need. And of course, always the lovely Chrome is screwing things up. That Memory hog. Yeah, I gotta figure out. I just heard that that Swedish like asset management company just bought the rights to all the Tolkien properties, but I thought they were. I thought Amazon owned them. Maybe it's European. Maybe it's getting confused between European and North American rights. But I thought Amazon bought that. So I guess it's Amazon in the U.S. and Embracer Group in Europe. That's probably it. But that has to be depressing for England to not own and not have a an English company owning any treasures. I guess it's better than a Chinese asset management, which was we didn't even hear about that, but there were so many Chinese asset managers. Yeah, it was fucking Chrome. Of course it is. Yep. Now we're back. Yep. I just had to close some Chrome windows. So stupid. Yeah, I got tons of hard drive space. Sorry about that. Yes. The spoon is a memory cyclops, a memory-induced cyclops. Yeah, I didn't even know I did an eye on the spoon. I want to make it a little bit smaller. A cyclopic spoon. Yeah, what was the what's that myth? Because there was that movie Kroll that had the myth about there was a Cyclops character there, and the race of Cyclops was one of their eyes was taken, but they were given prescience, like presight, like premonition. What's that called? They were psychic. They became psychic Cyclopses. So they lost one of their eyes, but all Cyclops could see the future. But their punishment was the only future that they could see is the day of their death, like the how they were going to die. But what is the actual like Greek myth? Were they? Yeah. So one-eyed giants help Zeus defeat the Titans. Yeah. So yeah, they were just using a yeah, because it was just like a one-eyed giant. Huh. Yeah, that was fun though. That was a fun. There's the different kinds of Cyclops. Let's stay off of Wikipedia. But I liked how they handled that in that movie. That was the fun idea. You can see the future, but the only future you can see is when you die. Okay, and let's finish up the cakes. Oh, black. Yes. Right, they lose all depth perception, so they have to give up archery. But they know that when they're going to die, they can foresee their own death. That's very thematic, though. That's always the gods always trick you into taking a bad deal. And it's always like, I love in those myths, it's always like an ancestor, like, thousands of years ago, your great, 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 times 50 grandfather made this shitty deal with a god, and it fucked your whole your bloodline, your whole race forever. All right. Oops, I'm getting a weird glare, so I'm kind of screwing this up here. Let's try that again. Okay. I'm leaning on the leaning in the camera range. All right, there we go. All right. Should I make the cakes shiny? Yeah, maybe. Or am I making everything too shiny? But they were just frosted, so why not? I don't want to make them look sweaty, just shiny. Right. Oh, it's going to be pretty strong, though, on the chocolate cake. do we want them that shiny? Sure. So I was talking about adding eggs to cake mixes. So I think I'm going to do a timing, like when to add the eggs. When you add your eggs to the cake mix. All right. So what do I call these? Like cakes from a box? Instant. Yeah, what's a good term for instant cakes? Cakes made from a box. When to add the eggs was always important. All right, let's try some. Oh, wrong layer. It's gonna look like bangs. I don't know where to put the eyes. It's gonna look like frosting bangs. One more down. I don't know. What am I doing? Better late than never. Oh, that's so good. Yum. Jeez. I gotta hire you as like a full-time joke writer. I could be cranking these out if I just had Yum on chat and I just like draw something as fast as I can and then just boom, give me a line, boom, boom. It could be old like 40s style magazine cartoon studio. I need a line for this. Give me a line. Give me a line. That's good. Better late than never. Yeah, emo chocolate. Emo frosting bangs on that chocolate cake. Brutal. All right. So, let's continue with K5's awesome idea and my ability to go back and edit all my spelling mistakes of let's see, of the back catalog. So where were we? We stopped at, oh, that's right, it's to turn daily. So November 15th, 19, oh, 19, 19, yeah, I wish, 2005, and November. Well, yeah, this is daily, so it's going to take a while to get out of November here. All right, 15th. All right, yeah, that's right. Okay, let's see. I might have to make a fix here. So we'll switch over real quick before they're writing. Oops, not yet. We won't. Let's try this. I am in the black void. Okay, there we go. And resize the window. And up. There we go. Okay. Ooh, my shirt is totally blending me in. All right, so we left off with our little erotic beer bottle. Yay. Oh, yeah, yeah, if K5 is on, yeah. I don't want him to miss. It's a great idea. That was a really a good way to kind of go through things. Because random, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's very disjointed. So this gives us a better picture of where we've been. All right, so the bottle of beer found his new spot in the refrigerator. Somewhat erotic. Bum, bum, bum. So the 16th, is that big enough? Should I do one more? Two more? One more. Okay. Yeah, the text is much smaller on some of these older cartoons and not balanced very well. So I think I was still like, my model for this was like New Yorker cartoons, like how they were laid out, even though these are much less complicated drawing wise. So I think that's what I was doing for scale, but it looks a little small. Unknown girl is using summon K5. All right. So brown sugar was hard and unreasonable, but claimed it was a lack of humidity. Okay, so a joke about hard sugar. See, that went over well. Compacted sugar jokes are always the best. The bug spray could never forget the carnage he had witnessed. Poor guy. He's just killing them bugs. Yeah, so that was November 17th, 2005. 18th. A can of cling peaches had lost its label, thus attaining immortality. Immortality. Oh, wow. I actually got a comment. This series of comics is one of the most thoughtful and by extension one of the funniest I've ever read. Thank you, Jeremy. Wow. Oh, that's got to go right on the cover of the next book. That's very sweet. Oh, I should probably put I should credit Maui Mike. Yeah, I think that's what I did. All the because I did all the shitty insult comments. I put those on the back of my first book and credited all of the usernames that said shitty things to me. Yeah, so I love the I think it came from, I think we had a can without a label on it. Like we had a pantry, like that's how 1950s some of the places I lived as a kid were. But a can that lost its label, and usually you would take a marker and write on it what it was, and then you're fine. But I think it lost the label, and I think it was just like a gluing mistake or whatever, and just in the shifting, the label came off. Nobody remembered what it was, and so it sat on the shelf forever and never did anything. I think we just eventually had to throw it away. And I think it was like one of those cans that was getting so old that the seams were getting rusty on it. One of those old cans of something. I'm sure it was something as exciting as like corn or peas or something. But yeah, so that stuck with me. So I like the if a can loses its label, it's immortal. It will never die. Because no one will ever dare just randomly open it. And is it fruit? Is it vegetables? Is it corned beef hash? You never know. All right. So let's go to the 19th. Klingrap felt she was coming completely undone. Coming undone. Not cling. I think I've done some clinging Klingrap jokes, but yeah, I always hate. Recently, I've been tearing the cling wrap short. It feels like the cling wrap is thinner here because I can't handle it very well. So I'm not a fan of Japanese cling wrap. Oh, sorry. I'll make sure I get these on the screen here. So November 20th, an unseen coffee filter joke. His grounds now cool and drying. The used coffee filter faced his own mortality. Just leaking and drying. Yeah, I remember the I think I've only had one coffee maker that used the really big filters, not the industrial size ones like in a big bun at a restaurant, like at a diner, but those ones that now it's all that wedge kind of brown paper filters, but those big ass coffee filters where you just piled in the Folgers or whatever. That's my memory right there. All right. Oh, I got to be checking these for spelling too, or this is useless. Cool and drying. It's gonna be filter. Right. Next. 21st. Boom, boom, boom. Look at this awesome. I did this. Yeah, this it counts as coloring, but the yeah, I did the holes in Photoshop, so I didn't have to draw them, and they looked a little too perfect. But the colander was sad about what was lost and what was left behind. Sad. What was lost? All the water was lost. I think we probably did open it, but I remember it just being like, this is old, and throw the can with no label. I don't remember it would have been a ceremony of opening it, but it just sat like a trophy on a shelf forever. Colander was sad about what was lost and what was left behind. Okay. Existential colander jokes. Oh, this was one of my favorite drawings of this era. Bucks of crayons felt his creative life seep away like so much melted wax. Yeah, I love that. And I really skimped out on the. I could have drawn much more psychedelic, beautiful smears of wax, but yeah, they just kind of bled into one color. Yeah, right, warp. Yeah, that's true. Yes. Yeah, I love that. I love the idea, and that was definitely a trauma. I can remember like leaving crayons in the back window of a car, as a kid, and the cars. Of course, everyone's parking their cars outside. We like had a garage full of junk, or like use the garage for like stuff. So rarely put the cars in the garage. So things are parked out in the driveway all the time. So you leave a crayon, and you basically have like a paper tube and a puddle of wax of whatever the color is, and your parents like insanely angry that you just put a big red stain in the back window of the car. But I remember like how crayons just melt right out of their little paper covers in the hot cars. Yikes. Oh, yeah, melted chocolate. Oh, that's brutal. Yeah, I hate that in the summertime when if you have like wrapped chocolate and you go to pick it up and you can just feel like inside that wrapper it's completely liquid. So yeah, it's like I'm not even gonna put this in the refrigerator and think about it later. Yeah, I should redraw that wax someday. It's a product of its time. I'm not gonna special edition these cartoons. They're a product of my laziness in the early aughts. All right. Oh, there we go. The cruet. I'm using like colander cruet. I don't know why I have all these stupid kitchen. I think basically I was like Googling or whatever I searched back then, searching the names of kitchen utensils and devices. The cruet awaited a good shaking to relieve the pain of separation. Oh, oil and vinegar. Yeah, it feels like, what is this? 2003. I was like hitting, because I'd already been doing it for a year, so I was starting to hit a stride in the tone of it. So you see all of these are kind of have very similar tones. I was finally like really, yeah, kind of getting the thing, the thing going on. Hershey Go-Gurt. Oh, Go-Gurt. Yeah, oh, yeah. My oldest daughter was a big Go-Gurt fan. She ate a lot of those. We watched Tom and Jerry on like whatever cable, and she ate Go-Gurts after school. Go-Gurts. All right, because they're portable. They're yogurt on the go. All right. There were some things that could never be erased. Yeah, I don't think they do. They still make those erasers that one half is for erasing pen or whatever. Whenever you erase pen, and one is for pencil. I remember those like gray and pink erasers, and supposedly, although I never like quite understood that, but like the harder gray side was for erasing ballpoint pen. Yeah, I thought there had to be special ink for that to erase. Okay. 2005. There we go. Can of Peas thought the idea of freezing was too science fiction. Canning was cool, but frozen peas, what kind of cryogenic nonsense is that? Oh, sorry. But Can of Peas thought the idea. Oh, wait, so let me shorten this so they don't open so long. There we go. Freezing was two. Frozen peas. I should have said frozen peas. Oh, not random. Next one, 2005, November 26th. It soon became apparent that there were no winners in the Who Will Melt First contest. No winners. A lot of melting. Yeah, a lot of melting things. You could tell I was doing this in a hot climate. Yeah, I thought it was. My memory is that it's supposed to be for pen, but most ink pens, I don't know, you could actually. But I think that might have been an old idea, and they probably changed the formulation of ink and stuff so much since they originally did that. But I thought so. They're just harder. Like the one is harder and more porous, the gray one, and then the pink eraser is more rubbery. Who will melt first contest? At least it's not copy paste. So this is before I started doing it digitally. If I did this digitally, I would just copy paste that stupid box. But I drew it very awkwardly 3 times, and those are the results. The 3 boxes blamed their indecision on being made of 100% recycled materials. Yeah, that was a recycling as reincarnation. I think I did that joke a few times. So they're not themselves. They're many things from the past. Okay. Can of soda lost not only his carbonation but his will to live. Yeah, that was the thing, because you're a kid, and sometimes a can of soda is like a huge thing that you can't finish. So you can't finish it, and then my mother's instructions were always put it back in the refrigerator. And that was back in the days when before glass shelves in refrigerators, so it was just wire shelves. And so if that thing fell over, it was just gonna cover the whole refrigerator with sticky soda. But I can remember putting an open can of soda back in the refrigerator, and like I'm not gonna go back to this. This is not gonna go well. It'll stay cold, but it will lose everything that I liked about it. Meaning its carbonation. All right. Oh, here we go. The jar of pennies thought only of the long term. Long term. Look at his little sleepy eyes. Do you like how I didn't do? I only did pennies on the top, and then they just like blend into a copper colored mass. Oh, efficient. Slotted Spoon was the savior of orphaned green beans. Oh, there's one right there. Yeah, nothing can sit. Even now, those the big plastic bottles. I'm surprised how fast the carbonation goes out of those as well. So December 1st. All right, we survived November. December 1st. If anything, soy milk was less tolerant. This looks kind of old school though, like from the first year. That may have been because that's what I would do too. I would sit and just draw as many as I could, like 10 or 20 cartoons at a time, just images and little compositions that I liked, and then go back, scan them, and then go back and write for them. And so sometimes it was actually a drawing from months ago or maybe even last year that would eventually make it or think of something to write. So this definitely looks like the very earlier style, all kind of small, wonky little compositions. So sometimes that happens, are kind of out of sequence. Less tolerant soy milk. Oh, there we go. The 2-liter bottle had nothing to look forward to but recycling. It looks like a 2-liter of Mountain Dew. I don't know what that's supposed to be. Oh, did you guys hear the I don't know if it's just in North America, but Sprite and some of the other flavors of different soda that had green bottles to kind of like separate them from colas and everything, because I had no color otherwise, are just going to a clear plastic now. They're not doing green or pink or any kind of plastic, just for the sake of recycling. All of the polyethylene plastic is just going to be clear, so they can recycle it more easily. So that's going to suck. All the branding for a lot of those drinks is gone forever now. All right. Ooh, a walnut joke. So December 3rd, the bull knew the walnuts would face a violent end. Just look at those tools, a hammer and a cracker. Do people, I remember that was a grandparent thing, like a bowl of walnuts, and it would have like it would be one of those 50s style bowls, and it would have a place to put the nutcracker and the little mallet. But are people really ever like hitting a table with a walnut on it to try to break a walnut open? And a pick too. That's the thing I didn't draw, is sometimes there was a little pick, so almost like crabs, like the same thing you would use to eat crabs. They would have all those tools for eating walnuts. Yeah. Yes, B Corp doing something good for the environment, but they're losing when something is being lost. I mean, yeah, that's true. It's much better to be able to reuse all of that plastic instead of getting it out. Yeah, yeah. It's just the labels now that have any color on them. The plastic is all going to be clear. Crazy. The violent end of walnuts. So December 4th. There's some crazy looking batteries. It was now apparent why you should never mix old and new batteries. A multi-generational group of batteries. Alright, so their lack of conversation, I guess. There we go. There's an American looking that's like straight out of my childhood. A squeeze bottle of yellow mustard and bologna in a plastic little peel away film thing. The bologna had told that's see, this is an American television reference, so it's not going to make much sense. The bologna had told her his first name, but that was as far as it would go. So the old Oscar Mayer, they did all the like bacon and all the like meats, processed meats. So the Oscar Mayer brand, for all through like the 70s, they had that little song that it was always a kid singing, my bologna has a first name and has a second name, and they're just trying to get that Oscar Mayer name into your head. And so they would sing and spell the name, and so the bologna has a first name, but they never their relationship never got beyond first names. Oh no, we do. Yeah, there's some. It's not super common. The more common style is Chinese. It's still yellowish. It's a little more brown, but that really spicy. So I think it's like really, really filtered mustard seed, but very high concentrate. So super sharp mustard and a little bit of like maybe rice vinegar in it. So it's much spicier and sharper than yellow mustard. But no, there's yellow mustard here because people do like sausages and wieners and even cheeseburgers and stuff. They want the yellow mustard even here for that. So it's mostly import brands though. I think like French's and stuff. Not French's. It's the Heinz. I think Heinz has the big market here. But yeah, we got yellow mustard. It's just not super common. I've got some, but maybe you couldn't find it in a Japanese refrigerator, a real Japanese refrigerator. So the bologna and its first name. So the deodorant knew she was strong enough for a man, but made for something better. My feminist deodorant cartoon. That's another. See, this is all old, like 70s television commercials. Like, so secret deodorant, I think, in the U.S. That was the strong enough for a man, but made for a woman, so it smelled, powdery and flowery. But was the same toxic aluminum oxide or whatever is in deodorant that makes it carcinogenic. All right. Nobody. Yeah, see, and lots of frowns in these early cartoons. So December 7th. Oh, there we go. The eye drops could see it all clearly for the first time. Instead of just providing clarity, they had their own mental clarity. What if eye drops suddenly could... Oh, here we go. Some flan. Everybody loves a good flan joke. The flan was uncertain and a bit runny. Flan. Yeah, that's that. So they just call it pudding here. Pudding. But there's so many. I should do one of I think I did already on the stream, but I should do one of those one time. The cup pudding. So it's got the kind of burnt whatever that is, but it's like a caramelized like a bitter caramel sauce, and then the eggy flan, and it's in a little cup, and you pop the you peel it, and then you pop a little thing on the bottom to like break the vacuum, and then you just can flop it right into a dish, and it looks just like a real cooked flan. But that's really popular here, the eggy. I guess because of Portugal, probably. That was probably a Portuguese thing. The hourglass figure on the feminine deodorant. Runny Flan joke. Okay, December 9th, 2005. As ridiculous as it sounded, they just couldn't make anything stick. Their relationship. So yeah, still the romantic jokes. Lots of glue jokes. Way too many glue jokes. Yikes. 2005. Both of them wish they had met under different circumstances. Another innuendo joke. Lotion and tissue boxes. Masturbation reference. All right. December 11th, 2005. The overturned bull said he had nothing to hide. Haha. So there could be something under the bowl, but we'll never know. Yeah, lots of frowns. Lots of frowns in these early cartoons. Now it's just blank stares. I guess I'm just like numb. I'm not even sad anymore. I'm just numb. December 12th. The facial tissue wished there was more to their relationship than just blotting. Lipstick blotting jokes. Anyone see? There it is. There's the blotted lipstick marks. He wants something more than blotting. December 13th. It was a blow to his ego when she said he had communication problems. Oh, the poor little Motorola radio. The lotion tissue under the bowl. Communication problem. That shadow's looking a little weird. Moving on. I don't know. We're gonna make it out of December. Let's find out. Oh, there we go. There's a relic. December 14th. The hot water bottle was now cold and possibly leaking. Yeah, before like electric heating pads and stuff, this was the only way. Like if you had a stomach ache or whatever, that was the old style. Boil some water, put it in a big rubber bottle with a stopper, and just hug a rubber bottle. I bet they don't even make those anymore. A hot water bottle. Oh, there we go. I did a really big A0 canvas, like not canvas, a panel, a wooden panel, a painting of this cartoon that was bought from the gallery in Japan. So this looked beautiful, just because it's very colorful. It looked beautiful upscale. So I put the joke on it, but I made the art like the whole size of the canvas, and then the line, the joke is just very small. So the gumball machine knew everything had its price. And there's it's probably coming up. I won't spoil it. There's another one I did that was big and beautiful. Like that looked really good as a panel. All right. So December 16th, the hot dog bun was dismayed by the overwhelming similarity by the overwhelming similarity of her potential partners. A whole pack of hot dogs, and they all look pretty much the same. Oh, it's probably on a wall still in Japan. Yeah, it was a Japanese woman that bought it. I actually like the colorful cartooniness. So yeah, I'm hoping it's still on a wall somewhere. Yeah, I sold a bunch of. I did a whole series, different sizes. So I did 4 large panels, 3 kind of medium size, horizontal, like more like the proportions of the cartoon, horizontal, and then I think a dozen tiny ones. And the tiny ones went really fast at a lot of the art shows and stuff. But the bigger ones I didn't bring to the shows. I just sold them out of the gallery. So hopefully hopefully they haven't been recycled somewhere. That'd be great if I go into some resale shop or some kind of Salvation Army type shop in Japan and see my stuff there. Oh, that'll be depressing. It just probably meant the person died. All right. The hot dog bun, yes, was dismayed. Oh, here we go. Maui Mike is back. Double entendre in the kitchen. Whoa. Mike knows. All right. And I'm liking that comment from 9 years ago. Nice. And December 17th, once the sandwich was made, the only possibilities were suffering or decay. Right? Either going to be chewed on or you're just going to rot. Just like life. It's 18th. Oh, yum. You gotta give us a judgment here. There's another Zippo. Luckily, the fire had gone out of their relationship. A box of matches and a Zippo lighter. It was depressing until he realized maybe they just died. Nice. Uh, all right, yeah, I gotta get a judgment. I think it's pretty good. I think I was actually like looking at my Zippo when I did that. So 9 out of 10. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's a little the flip top on it is not quite in perspective, but it's getting there. And yeah, you don't see the hinge very well either. All right, thank you. Yeah, December 19th. The bottle of perfume had always been warned that baby oil was a slippery character. What are perfume and baby oil doing? I love the the modern art of the perfume bottle. Nice. And look at that simple puddle. Look at that. There's no highlights or anything. I just took a blue line. Wow. It was much more economic back then. December 20th. Longevity and ease of use were the book's greatest advantages. That is a crazy looking videotape. If I if I could distort that a little bit, shift it in Photoshop a little bit, I probably should have, yeah. But yeah, broken, that's the crazy thing. So many broken tapes and they're so hard to fix. You know, you have to kind of have your own little setup to very carefully take apart a cassette, mend the tape and put it back together. It'll probably never be the same, like tension wise again. Ease of use. All right, are we? Oh yeah, getting to the end of December. We'll probably hit some Christmas before too long. Iodine was not germ phobic as much as it was as much as he was anti-infection. So his political beliefs, he wasn't germ phobic in the in that sense, but he was more anti-infection. Okay. Oh, hey, remember that little orange button, though? Wasn't that for being? Oh yeah. That little yeah. You flipped it, like you pushed it. It had like two positions, and there was a little thing in there that told the machine whether or not you could record on it. So if that thing was moved, or I guess it was with the cheaper like VHS. So maybe the video camera like High 8 and those video camera cassettes, you shifted a little switch, but on the cheap ones you just broke a little tab. I remember on VHS, if you wanted to keep your tape forever and never let it be recorded on, although you could fix that with a piece of tape, you actually broke a little tab out so that it was a little divot. Oh, kitty litter jokes. The litter box was haunted by what was just below the surface. Okay. Just below the surface. Everybody loves a dirty cat box joke. All right. Oh, we're getting close to Christmas, but no Christmas jokes. Bulk baby food. Thought the little baby food jars were so cute. Look at that big smile. That's like only the third smile, I think, in a cartoon. Oh yeah. Got to transfer everything over because the tape. I mean, the tape will just naturally, because it's just magnetic, it will naturally become less magnetic, and some of those particles will just like fall off the tape. So it'll degrade without even watching it. That sucks. All right, the 24th, Christmas Eve, and I'm just making sponge jokes. The sponge could not understand why everything in the bathroom smelled like food. I think that was a more of a reference to like my daughter's kids shampoos. Like there were a lot of those baby L'Oreal and different or kids brands that it was all bubblegum and strawberry and like peach, and all the scents of the shampoos and body washes and stuff were all just food smells. So that's where that came from. All right, I think we'll make it out of December. It's Christmas. Yeah, I think the reason, because these you can see they're redated. This is copyright is 2003 because that's when I made it, but it's not getting posted on this service. So the dates are all shifted. So maybe there's Christmas stuff that will come up, but it's going to be in July or whatever. So all the things that were kind of date specific get shifted once I got these syndicated. It had become clear that butter would never see the ocean. It had now become clear that butter would never see this. So yeah, all the things that might be in your beach bag, and butter is not going to be one of them. Butter would never see the ocean. Bottled water, suntan lotion, and nail polish, but no butter. The sudden appearance of the knife brought things into perspective. Ba-bum. Milk and a knife. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, back everything up that... and also, like, if you put things on disk, you know, the discs can be, depending on the process, if they're just optical burned, eventually those will be unreadable too. So also back up the files on those disks in some sort of cloud backup or multiple places, because there's no way to know. Digital stuff is so unreliable. The one thing the smoke detector resented most was being grouped in with other noisemakers. That's a really dumb joke. So a whistle, a kazoo, like party horns, and a party, whatever those are called, those noisemakers. Yeah, fucking smoke detectors. Yeah, because I was living in apartments, always had old shitty smoke detectors, and they would do that thing where the battery was low, and they would just go beep, and just like every 10 minutes, beep, so to remind you to change the battery. And they would start doing that like in the middle of the night. And then if you're cooking or something and one of those stupid things goes off, that's the worst. Luckily they're not, connected to any, they don't call the fire department, thank God. All right. The toilet brush could not imagine a worse existence. That's a big frowny face. Yep, that's, there we go. Straight to the point there. Could not imagine a worse existence. And I like that water is just running everywhere from the brush. Nice. He's all haggard looking, like a Muppet. All right, December 29th. The bag of airline peanuts wondered why the hell anyone would take them off an airplane. That's right. If you take that extra bag with you, when are you going to eat that? I like the peanuts are in a shell. Like... I guess that's what I'm contrasting, is they're probably shelled peanuts in a little package, but actual peanuts are there. But yeah, they would definitely have shelled peanuts in the package. You wouldn't have to actually crack them open. Ooh, there we go. Look at those coffee rings. Ooh. December 30th. The coffee mug was certain the strange rings were being left by visitors from outer space. Yes. Coffee rings sending him a message. I love the coffee, the drying on the lip of the mug as well. Disgusting little coffee stains. All right, and 31st. The sight of blood was the only thing that Band-Aids could not handle. I like the tiny little drop there. Yeah, lots of frowning, early frowning cartoons. That's funny. Yeah, I got to get back into drawing more frowns. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Yum. Yeah, this is definitely like the peak, like when I was really into doing these and like really kind of had a tone down. His tip dull and ink completely dry. The magic marker only wished he had just once drawn something worthwhile. Bwah, bwah. That's my imposter syndrome. I guess it's January 1st. Imposter syndrome, my fear of never doing anything. So this is the style of marker that I drew all of these early ones in. The little Sharpie with the black and gray little exterior. So yeah, I drew a couple of Sharpie cartoons, and I almost for like a promotional thing got some custom Sharpies with the domestic abuse and the URL printed on them. But I guess pens that say domestic abuse are probably not going to be popular items. So I never did it, but I considered it because then I could, if nobody bought them or if I didn't give them away, I can draw with them. Because Sharpie, the actual company that makes Sharpies, will do custom labels on their pens. But I didn't. Had just once. This could be shortened and I think be more powerful. It's a little bit like an essay. All right, well, we'll stop there because we escaped 2005. So we'll start 2006 next time. All right. Oh, that's fun. Great idea, K5. And hopefully you can go back and watch these if you miss any of them. And well, that's what I'll do. I'll go back and I'll just take all of these and like chain them together in the mega the super cut of all of the going through the entire catalog and talking about them, reading every cartoon. That's going to be like over 10 hours probably once we get through all of these. Maybe I won't do that. All right, let's switch back. The drawing time. Oh yeah. No, that would be really cute. Yeah, if I could get custom erasers printed with a little face on them, that'd be really fun. Yeah, I just don't do any shows anymore. I'd have to find somebody that could do them like on demand, because I don't do enough comics shows to. I used to have a bunch of stuff, T-shirts and all kinds of stuff, buttons and stickers and everything of this cartoon, because I'd be doing shows all the time, but not so much no more. Yeah, I guess though I've got enough Japanese translations. I should probably get back into doing shows and promoting this, especially once I have the book too, because I could have that translated as well. All right. Yeah, that'd be fun. Good idea. All right. A little bit of water. Wow, we jumped ahead 19 years from when that last cartoon we just did. We're jumping ahead 19 years into 2022. God, that's crazy. Sometimes it was better not to advertise your weaknesses. That was really good. That was Rev that kind of condensed all of your different thoughts down. A little eyes. There we go. That would be perfect. Little pairs of eyes. Like print them on like a little clear sticker so you could put them on anything. Perfect. Yeah, that'd be really cute. All right. So with instant, they're instant cakes, right? What do you call that? Cake mix. What do you call that? Yeah, just cake mix or cake from a box. Instant cake mix. Oh, so maybe instant cake mix. It's all about when the eggs. So this is the eggs. This was the idea. With instant cake mix, it was all about when to add the eggs. So she was a little late, but it still happened. 2 eggs after the cake is frosted. Add 2 eggs. Nice. Oh, that's a good idea, Yum. Yeah, that would be good. I should do the yeah, because if I could print the sticker set on clear stickers, sorry, that would be nice. And then have a whole, I can do a row of eyes. I guess I have to figure out a good scale though. Yeah, because if it's real scale, real size objects, yeah, the scale would actually be pretty big. The eyes themselves would be a few millimeters wide to make it work, or almost a centimeter. All right, with instant cake mix, it was all about when to add the eggs. Yeah, that's pretty close. Okay. And, oh, I'm going to put some coffee, actually. Sorry. One more thing here. One more thing. And then one more thing. The Columbo, I can't do a Columbo voice. Another thing that keeps coming up during, if Matt was here, he could verify that kept coming up in the Blade Runner game we're playing. Because it's an investigation game, so all the investigators are like Columbo. And one more thing. And that works, too. Even in games, that works surprisingly well. All right, so here's... Or should I already have the coffee? Yeah, do a lighter coffee color. Something like that. And then I should actually hit it with a little highlight. Oh yeah, I didn't make the mug shiny. Or the spoon. Everything's shining. We call it the shining. Alright. So, lightning. Yeah, so cream and coffee. That was an old 40s song, right? Being the cream in someone's coffee. She wanted cream but settled. See, now I'm getting influenced by the old cartoons. I'm doing romantic cartoons. Settled for 2%. She wanted cream but settled for 2%. Or should... I think she is better. Wanting something. So wanted... Is wanted good? Wanted cream... Yeah, cream and coffee. That's like the goal, the ideal, the best tasting. So she wanted cream, but settled for 2%, or hoped for cream. She longed for cream. Is there a better word than wanted? She hoped for cream, but settled for 2%. I don't know. Is there a more... Yeah, nicer way to put that. Wanted cream but settled for 2%. She longed for. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Let's mix it more romantic too. And we got tons of space to make it, and it's still a one-liner. She longed for cream but settled for 2%. Yeah, that's much more whimsical and romantic sounding instead of just wanted. She longed for cream but settled for 2%. Yeah, so that is pretty close to the old style of those cartoons that you just saw. Is I would draw something that I liked, the composition or the object itself, and thought it was inspired something, and then would go back and scan it, color it, and then write it. So it was always cartoon then line most of the time. But then once I started producing it regularly, I kept a little notebook where I was writing jokes in it. And so sometimes when I was out of ideas about what to draw, I would read the little jokes and then draw the cartoon to fit the joke. And you can kind of tell which came first in most of these. All right. She longed for cream but settled for 2%. Yeah, because a lot of times there's not a back and forth so much. With instant cake mix, damn it. Instant cake mix. I gotta make sure that that's clearly cakes. With instant cake mix, it was all about when to add the eggs. But they didn't break them, so there you go. There's a benefit to adding them late. Yeah, thank you, Unknown Girl. Yeah, longed for, I think, is a better way. She longed for cream, but settled for 2%. And with instant cake mix, it was all about when to add the eggs. Yeah, so I'm not timing, but actually when works better, I think. All right. And yeah, I gotta get these on Twitter. This is stupid that I'm not putting these on social media. I'd have so many more readers if I was just getting them out in other places. But then you don't make any ad revenue. Longed for cream, but settled for 2%. There we go. Good. Wow, that was surprisingly easy. I guess reading the old ones, I can kind of get the tone that I want, and yeah. The tone of writing for this cartoon definitely came from I forget which late night show it was, but there was like an odd like cable, like HBO or something, late night show. It might have been Dennis Miller before he got all like conservative and weird, but he did a photo thing, and the tone on that photo thing was so good. I don't know who his writer's room was, but the tone of those jokes just based on a single photo were exactly the tone that I wanted for this cartoon. Yeah. I gotta get him on Twitter. Yeah, I think I've tried. 'Cause I wanted, of course, be as lazy as possible, so I tried some plugin or something on for WordPress, and it just like literally dumps them all out. Like there's no good way to. I guess I'd have to go through and like number all of them, but there's no good way to just put them out so they would just go out gradually. I guess I should just like starting on a day and then just manually. I can queue them up to be posted. But yeah, Twitter would probably be a good thing, and Instagram too, because they're close enough to Square that the height, Instagram would add a little bit more to the height, or maybe the to the height, top or bottom, and they would look pretty good on Instagram too. I dumped them all in my Facebook about 5 years ago or so. So there's a bunch on Facebook. Oh, what still think mine was better. Oh no, yours was better. No, yeah, yours was definitely better. The where was it? Yeah, it was before we looked at the before we looked. Oh, there we go. Emo chocolate cake. Yeah, yours was definitely better. Oh man. Nice. Where was that? Oh damn. Yeah. Now I gotta rely on you. We gotta have a set up an old timey cartoon studio, and I'll just draw them. I'll draw them and you write them. So I'll just sit, and it'll be on paper, of course, and I'll be dipping a pen into an inkwell, and I'll scroll the cartoon and I'll throw it over to you, and you bang it out on the typewriter, and there we go. That would be perfect. Yeah, I couldn't find it in the chat. I remember it was good, um, but I couldn't find it in the chat. Oh, that's right. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yum came later. Oh, better late than never. That's right. That is much better. Better late than never. That's right. Uh, no, that's good. It's the same idea. Yours is just funny. Nice. Yeah, we gotta do that. Get an office in an old high rise in a weird little city, and just bang out old timey cartoons. Oh man. All right. Oh, so let me. I think I already spell checked everything, but just in case. The word that makes me spell check everything, even though the spell check in Photoshop is garbage, but the word that makes me do that is I did a whole animated banner ad for some client, and I misspelled the word against. I put an I, two I's in against, and they freaked out on me. I was like, how can you have the typo in here? Why, I can't believe this is so unprofessional. Like, God damn, it's an easy fix. I can easily make that edit and re-render it and have it back to you in a minute. But they were so fucking pissed that there was a typo. And it wasn't released. This was just like doing iterations and stuff. And I'm like, oof. So from then on, I've always been very paranoid about at least giving a low level spelling check, because sometimes I just don't see it when it was written out. Nice. Yes, they will. We'll be wearing those visors and have those little garters on our shirt sleeves to keep them from getting ink on them and everything. And it's going to be all completely analog. So it's going to be an old ribbon typewriter, an old a Westwood or whatever, that you're just you'll jam those cartoons in there and just write a joke on there, and it's all puns. We'll pun it up. I'm sure we'll be millionaires. How could that possibly go wrong? Oh, yeah, that used to be, just like comedians would pay writers for jokes. That used to be a thing. Like, you could actually go to a joke writer, a cartoonist could go to a joke writer and either show him a cartoon he drew and said, "Can you write something for it?" or just buy a bunch of jokes and then draw his jokes. Like, that was actually a thing. Someone, if you ask someone what they do, they could say, "I'm a cartoon joke writer," like a magazine, newspaper cartoon joke writer. That's so funny that was actually a job. I mean, I don't think there's probably 2 people that ever made that a full-time job, but it's pretty funny that could be a job title. I guess, though, people do, write for Hallmark cards and stuff. So anything's possible. Okay, so let me size these. Wow, these turned out very easily. They came out very easy. That's weird. I'm getting creeped out. That's a good idea, though. I think that helps before the writing. That's a good idea to kind of go through a bunch of old cartoons. When it's random, it didn't seem to help as much, but yeah. And maybe when I'm in reading a more, a less cohesive part of the history of the cartoon, it might not help as much. But that sweet spot, like that, after that first year, I really like a lot of the jokes, or a lot of the cartoons that came out of there. They're not drawn well, but I think the picture and the joke work really well together. And so today will be the eggs one, and oops. And tomorrow, or the next week, will be the coffee one. Okay, did I do that right? Okay, yeah, everything is okay. Great, wow. It's time for the strongest potato? That should be a new reality show. The strongest potato. So this is not a great snack. The snacks are really sucking recently. There's not a lot of fun. Maybe companies are just, nobody's in good financial shape, so they're not going to risk putting out stuff that doesn't sell. But it's just like, I literally walked down the aisles in a convenience store and it's like, did that. So all the standard stuff in the convenience store, I've done all the classic snacks already. That's really amazing. So I have to, count on the new weird stuff coming out, and it's just not coming out very fast. But I saw strongest potato and I had to, just so I could say, I'm going to try the strongest potato. Yeah, so it's potato chips, unfortunately, not anything too exciting. But we will find out what that means. I think it just means a shitload of powder on the outside of a potato chip. But we'll see. All right, so we are ready. So let's go to the Family Mart. wait. Oh, there they go. Sorry. I totally lost them. I thought I lost you, boy. All right. Jeez. Yeah, hopefully it doesn't mean spicy. Yeah, if it's spicy, it's going to be a weird one. But here we are. So this week, it's me versus the strongest potato. So I don't know if you can see. So at the top there we go. Bum, bum, bum. The strongest potato. So this is Koikea. Koikea does some pretty good potato chips. They do like these crafty, kind of real lightly fried and very interesting, like very natural potato chips. But they also make the strongest potato. And how can I resist the challenge of Koikea Strong? So this flavor, there was just like a barbecue, like a Korean barbecue flavor, but I decided to go for the more Japanese. I think it was garlic and beef, basically. But this is umeboshi, and shiso. So umeboshi is a pickled Japanese plum, kind of, I think, with like a salt brine. So it's very sour. It's like a super, super sour plum. And shiso, if you can see it, is kind of a heart-shaped, a very jagged heart-shaped, I guess it would be like Japanese basil, is maybe how it would be referred to in cooking or whatever. But it has a very distinct taste. Like once you've tasted it, you'll never. And if you maybe at sushi restaurants, they might have it, because a lot of sashimi and stuff, you can wrap a leaf of that around it, and it's pretty good. And this is also shiso and plum is also a common for yakitori, and so grilled chicken on a stick kind of thing. Those kind of flavors for grilled chicken, shiso and plum. So let's get into it. So round one. I have a little bit of water left, but we'll see if I just like completely can't talk after the strongest potato. Oh, is there anything? There's no other, just all kinds of silly masterful kanji on the front. There's nothing, nothing else about the details. We'll get these open. Oh, wow. Yeah, it's definitely shiso and ume flavor. So yeah, it's not. You can still see a lot of potato there. I can smell both, and it smells like the real thing. It doesn't smell like like an artificial. And they're just, they're just Ruffles-looking potato chips. Whoa! Yeah. Oh my god! Yeah, it's really sour and really strong. Like it's like must not have a color to it, but this is a very coated potato chip. So, umeboshi, the sour kind. There's some that they make with honey, so they're a little sweeter. But the sour kind are really sour. I like this kind of sour though. It's nice. It's a fruit sour. But it's pretty strong. Wow. Okay, they're not lying. This is the strong. So the shiso is in there, but it's just like a very aromatic, kind of basil, like Asian basil flavor. But yeah, it's really sour. I'm glad I got I like this flavor. I'm sure these aren't very healthy. I'm sure the sodium is probably through the roof. I'll probably have a cardiac event eating too many of these. But wow, they're really, really, the flavor is super heavy. That's crazy. So I wonder what I guess, I'm glad I didn't get the garlic one. So super garlic would be probably immobilizing. I'd probably have my eyes would be tearing at this point. But it's really good. You can't taste any potato though. Like the flavoring is so strong. The potato is just a medium. It's just a flavor delivery system. You don't taste any potato. It's really sour. But I love the dried kind of ume snacks and stuff they have here. They're really good. And supposedly they always say that Japanese plum is good for your stomach. Like if you have an upset stomach or just not feeling quite right. And so that's why they often have them like to eat at the end of a meal or whatever. If anything has been too oily or kind of upset your stomach, supposedly. I'm not sure exactly what effect it's supposed to have, but they're supposedly good for digestion and just to calm your stomach down. Yeah, they do have salt and vinegar chips here. They always kind of like fluctuate. It's more trendy. Like there'll be more limited flavors, but they'll have sour cream and onion and vinegar and salt. But I can't imagine a vinegar version of these strong chips. That would be brutal. Like a really really strong vinegar flavor on chips would be really painful. Yeah, I'm glad I didn't do the garlic. That would be crazy. Plus, I would probably have insane breath for tomorrow recording the weekly. But these are really good. I'm glad I chose the plum. I really like that sour flavor. But you could put this on anything. If this was on like a piece of cardboard or whatever, it would be the same. You can't taste any potato chip at all. That poor potato chip. Oh, look at that. It's very connected here. Yeah. But the combination too makes the flavor a little bit more interesting. The shiso flavor makes it a little more interesting, a little more complicated. It's just not only sour. But very Japanese. This is a very Japanese flavor. So many people, and maybe because like as a kid or something they tried them or they ate too many of them or whatever, but so many Japanese people don't like the Japanese sour plum flavor. But yeah, it's one of my favorite. Wow. Okay, so this is not a false advertisement. These are very strong chips. They are. Like, look at that. That does not look like it has too much, flavoring or anything on it, because it's very subtle. There's a little pink powder, but I guess a little goes a long way, and maybe most of it is just like a clear, salty kind of thing. But whoa. I don't know if I'm going to venture into any of the other flavors. Wow. But with with beer or with like a highball or some kind of mixed drink, that'd be really good. It makes you super thirsty. Yeah, so if you've ever had wild plums, like a European wild plums taste very similar to Japanese plum. So the European domesticated plum or whatever is a very different flavor, the kind of more purple. These are pink and green more, and they're very sour, so they never get quite sweet. And when the way that they pickle them in the salt, it makes them even more sour. So they're powerfully sour, but they're really good on the chips. I mean, you can't just eat those by themselves though. It's a little bit too intense. But as a snack with a bunch of other stuff and a lot to drink, they'd be really good. I mean, I think they could make you get pretty wasted just by the amount of alcohol you'd want to drink with those. But yeah, and definitely an adult flavor. They don't, and that's funny. They don't really market. I guess strong is supposed to, insinuate that. But they're definitely one of those good with alcohol type snacks. But yeah, not bad at all. Wow. Okay, so yeah, yeah, and I think all of if you ever see anything by the Koikea potato chips, everything that I've had from them has been really good. A little bit expensive, like this. They're not. This bag is pretty huge, but I think it was over $2. But they're not cheap potato chips, but they're pretty high quality. They're like thick cut and kind of kettle chips and stuff are really good. So success, not the most exciting thing, but it was a strong potato. Yeah, yum. Look for the so just ume, UME. So anything named ume in Japanese is going to be that sour plum, and it's more like a wild plum in America. Because we brought back some ume liqueur, some kind of drink for the neighbors as a souvenir when we were going back and forth between Japan and the U.S. And they liked it. It was ume and black sugar kind of alcohol, and really they liked that a lot. But they said, "Wait, you should try this." And they had homemade wild plum wine that they made, and it tasted exactly the same. Like it was, it was not with the sugar flavor, but it tasted very much the same. So wild plums in North America are very similar. So success for this week. Yeah, so yeah, very similar to and so you can they're not so the mildness of a European plum is not the same. This is very much like a sour wild berry or like a wild fruit. Good stuff. Wow. I'm gonna take them seriously from now on. Anything they say is strong. I will admit they're not misleading me. Hmm. Yeah, so you'll see some snacks. I think I showed you that supaimon. So supai means sour. So there's a Superman character and the whole a company that makes a whole range of products called supaimon. It's like a stupid Superman uh, parody, but they do a lot of candies, hard candies, and dried fruit and things, snacks. So you may be able to find those at a Japanese, like in Little Tokyo or a Japanese market. They should make the trip pretty easily because they last forever. Wow, good stuff. But yeah, very salty. They're good in the ones made with honey. There's the plums that are made with honey, so it cuts the sourness a little bit, and it's a perfect kind of breakfast flavor. I like that a lot. Just on the if you have rice in the morning, the honey honey prepared or whatever umeboshi are really good. All right, wow, we did it. We survived 2005 in the cartoon archive. We survived the strongest potato. I like how the design of the bag is like still really classy and like very nondescript. I would assume the strongest potato would be a potato with boxing gloves and a mouthpiece in, and or a power lifter potato. I was positive that Japan was going to go that angle, but they kept it classy. Yeah, that koike is yeah, for the potato brands. That's the classier potato chip. I'm a connoisseur now of Japanese potato chips, and I would recommend that as a classier potato chip. I'm sure it's all owned by like 2 companies, but still good. Very nice. Well, if you're in North America, you guys must be getting sleepy. It's got to be getting late. Yeah, that's true because they're showing, and I think they're showing like the other one especially. I think it literally had flames on it because it was like a yakiniku, like Korean barbecue type meat flavor. So there were like flames coming up through like pieces of meat. So this ain't your grandma's potato. This is the strongest potato. She says they had strong potatoes in her time. Well, yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, that whole 90s extreme, everything had an X because it was extreme. And I like how they marketed that to kids, like insanity and extreme behavior was like that's what kids love. Every character was on a skateboard or a BMX bike, and everybody was extreme. And joining Japanese cults. Oh man, well that's good. So yeah, so tomorrow, Chris and I will do the weekly on the other channel, and I still haven't hit 1,000 subscribers on this godforsaken channel. It wasn't meant to be. Yeah, I'm at 989. It just didn't happen. But maybe if I get raided again, if Hyphonics raids one of these times, we'll hit 1,000. All right. Just hungry. Oh yeah, I'm showing off potato chips and nice. Nice. I'm glad I can accompany you, unknown girl, while you're getting stuff done. That's better than I'm doing. All right. Oh, that's right. Yeah, that really touched me. I was so happy to see the channel icon, whatever it's called, the art for the profile art for his YouTube channel is using that artwork. That's awesome. Yeah, that was so cool. Definitely. Yeah, I put that, and that was like, I sent that to him on Instagram and said, yeah, this is free for you to use. Do, whatever you want. Uh, and didn't hear back, and probably Instagram chat is not a very vibrant tool of communication. And so, yeah, I didn't hear back, and it's like, oh, okay, well, it's just sitting there. And that was so cool to see that pop up on the channel. Yeah, that was very cool. All right. Well, yeah, let's wrap up this week. And apologies for the delayed live stream, but we'll be back to normal hopefully next week. My daughter goes back to school. It's not even Labor Day, and she's going back to school. Nice. Thank you, Yum. I can always rely on Yum. Nice. But yeah, I don't know if I'll ever get the hours to. That's the thing. I think I just don't stream long enough because I'd have to do multiple times a week. I think to get up my viewing hours. But maybe once, yeah, if I get over 1,000, that might be a thing I should do. Is just try to get to that point. So do a couple of streams because I can do the cartoon one day and then another day do some freelance stuff or some just some personal stuff or whatever. So just draw and chat some more and actually get some other work done. So I'll think about that because there are some things I should be drawing for myself anyhow. Watch me design logos. All right. So everybody take care, and it was good to see you. Thanks for catching me on the off day. But yeah, and you got to I got to talk to Pernilla a little bit. That's great. That's been a long time. Yeah, we were just high school students. Yeah, I met her when we were high school students, and then she lived in Chicago. She was an au pair in Chicago for a little while, so we got to reconnect after I was in Sweden, and then yeah, I think that was it. I think so. In the '90s was the last time. Yeah, wow, that's crazy. But anyhow, so be back next week. And abusecartoons.com if you're watching for the first time. And Abuse Cartoons on social media if you want to read the cartoon. There's thousands of them on gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And yeah, still putting together the book. It's August. I'm fucked. I gotta really put some time aside and get the book edited so we can get it done in 2022. Crazy. All right. So, yeah, take care, everyone, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.